The U.S. government announced the entry into force of the so-called UFLPA last week. On June 25th, John Kirby expressed concerns over the forced labor in China again when asked about the G7 meeting. Any response to that?
强迫劳动不在中国，而是在美国。
Forced labor is not taking place in China, but in the United States. For quite some time, the U.S. has sought to use Xinjiang-related issues to contain China by repeatedly rehashing forced labor in Xinjiang, a staggering lie propagated by the U.S., along with a series of attempts to create forced employment in Xinjiang. Facts have shown, however, that the false assertions made by the U.S. against China best summarize the poor track record of the U.S. itself. Forced labor has been a deep-seated problem with the U.S. since the day it was founded. The long history of slavery is solid evidence of forced labor in the U.S. According to statistics, between 1525 and 1966, over 12.5 million Africans were shipped to the U.S. for forced labor. Numerous black slaves were forced to work at the bottom of the society and tormented by dire working conditions, heavy labor, and brutal whipping by slave owners. In many ways, the U.S. fortune began with the blood, sweat, tears, and ultimate sacrifice of slaves. Even today, the U.S. is still fraught with serious forced labor. It might even be called a country of prevalent modern slavery. The website of the University of Denver disclosed that there are currently at least 500,000 people living under modern slavery and forced labor in the U.S. Forced labor is a particularly prominent and prevalent issue in 23 industries, including domestic service, agriculture, planting, tourism, sales, catering, medical care, and beauty. The U.S. is a source, transit, and destination country for victims of forced labor and involuntary servitude. There are forced labor in lawful and illegal industries. Up to 100,000 people are trafficked into the U.S. for forced labor annually. There are approximately 500,000 children farm workers in the U.S. The International Labor Organization has expressed concern for many years in a row about the serious occupational injuries of children working on American farms. While busy generating lies and rumors about forced labor in other countries, the U.S. government turns a blind eye to the actual forced labor at home. Today, the U.S. hasn't ratified ILO's Forced Labor Convention. It seems that the beacon of human rights fails to shine a spotlight on the U.S. dark history, and nothing in its human rights toolbox could aim at its own deep-seated social malaise. The U.S. should face up to its own serious forced labor issues and respond to the international community's concerns. After all, slinging mud at others is no way to clean up its own record.